Now you have defined separate module for all the general components like flip-flops and multiplexers, and when you actually want to use them in your design, you can instantiate this module with appropriate input ports and output ports. Now another approach here is to use macros. So instead of defining a module, you can add this module code into a macro. So this is how you define a macro for a D flip-flop with asynchronous reset. So when you define a macro, this is a format which we already discussed in the last session. Tick define the macro name, the optional argument followed by the macro value. So here you are listing out multiple lines as the macro value, so you have to use a backslash here. So thus the arguments are dout, din, clock reset and reset value, default reset value. Thus you are pasting this almost same kind of code always at positive edge of clock or negative edge of reset. If the reset is x, dout is x, else if reset is 0, output is the reset value, by default it is 0. Otherwise if the clock is x, again dout is x, and if none of these conditions are satisfied, dout will be equal to dn. Now if you define a macro here and if you use this macro, then all this code will be pasted at that particular line when you use this macro. So in general there are two approaches to define and use general components. Either you can define modules and instantiate those modules, or you can define macros and use those macros. So both of these approaches are used in the industry, but it is proven that using a macro over the module instantiation will give you a lot of advantage in the simulation time. If you are using macros, your simulation will be much faster than the actual code where you instantiate a module. Thus this is true especially when your design code is very complex and very large. So I would recommend you to define macros and user in your code, or if you are comfortable, again you can use define general component modules and use, but in this example I have defined macros for all these components and these macros are directly used. Note that there is no need to define a type of this input and output, because you have to, when you use this macro, you have to pass this carefully. The reason is when you use macros in your code, that macro will be replaced with this actual definition. Thus whenever you are using this macro in your code, that particular line will be replaced with all this line by replacing the arguments. Thus there is no need to specify the default or the type of this dout or din. If you're passing a 8-bit wide bus as dout and din, then all this will be acting as 8-bit and so on. Now we will browse through the different macros. Here I have defined a macro for a flip-flop with asynchronous reset. So macro D flip-flop asynchronous reset. So you should pass down the arguments in this order: output, input, clock reset and default reset value. And next is an enabled flip-flop. So here the macro name is M D flip-flop enable AR. Again the argument should be passed in this order: dout, din, enable, clock reset and the default reset value. And next is a 2-input multiplexer. Its name is M_max2. Next is a 4-input multiplexer. Next is an 8-input multiplexer and followed by a 16-input multiplexer. I have defined another macro called clog b2, m_clog b2, which will return the number of bits to be represented for a maximum value. So if the value is 2, then you need 1 bit. If the value is 4, you need 2 bits, and if the value is 8, then you need 3 bits and so on. So also I have written a function clog b2 which will return, which is using this macro internally. Instead of that, you can use this macro directly in your code.